Hi, this is Stephanie Kwame, your online instructor, and today we are going to continue working on the retreat project. We're going to work on putting doors, windows, and the interior of our retreat. As you recall, we did walls last time, and we extruded, trimmed them, and we also used a really powerful tool called Connect, and we found out we were able to connect an arched roof with a gable roof, so it would be a curve and an angle, and that's really a hard thing to do with math. And when you work with CAD, you're working with geometry. So we are going today again to take a peek at another great architect who uses ArchiCAD, and this one did a very highly unusual building. He was actually commissioned to do an iconic building, and we're going to take a look at just where that was. Was in Dubai. It still is in Dubai, as a matter of fact. Dubai is such an interesting area. It's off the this is Dubai in 1990. It was a sleepy kind of oil town, never did really that well. It's in the, off the Persian Gulf here, and this is it in 2014. And basically, it was decided to try and make Dubai the economic power center of the area, to make it a tourist mecca, to bring people there for tourism, and also continue on with their oil and gas. And apparently they have plenty of money for building this up. And of course, if you did, then why not in an area that does not have snow? Why not on your convention center add a ski run and ski lift? And that's what they did. This is an inside ski run and ski lift, and they don't have snow there, so it's a really amazing thing. You can do that anytime. Also, why not make a whole bunch of islands in the shapes, various shapes, so that anybody can go there. Not anybody. You'd have to have quite a bit of money to do this, but you could buy your own private island and build your own house there. And then the piece de resistance would be, why not build the world's tallest building? And that's what this is. And it's in Dubai. It's 2,722 feet tall. And if you compare that with our Empire State Building here, you can put two Empire State Buildings in one of these. A lot of people don't think of this, but think of the weight that has on the earth right there. The Empire State Building is in Manhattan, and Manhattan has a rock base, so that's why we can have skyscrapers there. And believe it or not, the Empire State Building, with people, furnishings, and everything, they estimate it weighs 500,000 tons. So just imagine what that weighs. But that's not the building we're talking about. The architect in the building we're talking about is this building. Basically, Tom Wright, who is a British architect, was asked to create an iconic building for Dubai. And similar to the Opera House. The Opera House was supposed to be sailing ships, and when you see it, you know you are coming to Sydney Harbor, and you're coming into Australia. So this is his iconic design, and it's built now, and it looks like a ship sailing towards Dubai. It is very difficult to design this, and he's done just a beautiful job. It's a hotel. And of course they had to do their own little island out there to make this hotel come about. And one of the things that is amazing is right here is a tennis court. How would you like to be playing tennis and jumping and missing a lob, and there you go? It's kind of a scary tennis court. The interior, if you took away this color, it wouldn't be the same, but they have some great, beautiful colors. They are using the gold, red, black. It's stunning. It might not be your taste, but it's really beautiful. And so let's go and do our interior now. When we left our project, we had on our roof that we had just done a connect with it, and I turned it off because having that geometry on the screen interferes with doing anything internally. And the way you do that is you hold the control key down and tap the L key for layers and find the A roof and turn it off. So you just basically click that I. This is wireframe, and that's if you want to lock the layer, and we just want to turn it off. And with it off, then we can do what we need to do. First, let's go and put in an impressive door. I went down to the entrances, storefronts, and curtain walls and selected this one. I think that will let in lots of light, and that was one of the things we wanted to do, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to change the width of this, and this will make the doors even more massive, so I'm going to change the width to 10 feet. And we're going to say OK. And we're lined up, scheduled to put it in the anchor up by the midpoint of the door. So if I come over here and I get a check mark, I know I'm at the midpoint because this has a default on the midpoint. So when you get the checks, you know that you're anchored. Now this is interesting. This door swing, being as big as it is now, would take up a lot of space to swing out, and we could be putting things there, like people, or we could be putting furniture, so we're going to swing this out. Now next, we definitely need an egress door. Everything needs to have an exit door, so we're going to use this door for our exit door. Just say OK, and come down right here. And we know that we're aligned when we get that little check mark, so we're going to say X, which is horizontal. We're going to go over 3 feet in the plus is what I call it direction, enter, and now we have our door in, and I like that particular. So now we're good. So now we've got an entrance and an exit door. And if I were doing a bubble diagram, this is what I'd tell you what I would do. I want to put an arch of some sort in between the two two main rooms we have. We have an outside restroom, so we don't need to worry about that as in another annex. I'd like to put a row of windows and then seating here, and you can watch someone that would stand in front of the windows talking at you, and you would see that beautiful view. And of course she would be inspirational. And then you would want to put a mini kitchen here because you got to eat, and then this is going to be like a break room for eating. So that's the plan. It's always good to zoom in on what you're doing. So I'm going to zoom in down here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find a window that we like. And I am going to go with a beautiful sliding window that would let in lots of light. It's a big 8 foot 4 inches, and yet you could open it up if the weather was nice and smell that nice fresh air. Now we're going to do aligning with the corner again, but I want to change the alignment of the door so it lines up with the endpoint. We're going to do the X again, and we're going to go over 1 feet 6 inches you could put in, or 1.5 would be the same as 1 foot 6 inches, and the plus, and there we have our window. And I'm going to tab. If you hit the tab key, you can see the alignment, and in general a window is flush on the interior, and it has the sill or more space on the exterior, so that's the way we're going to put that one in. Now let's say that you would like to have the bubble or the notation on the outside of this. So the way you could do that is you would get into the edit mode, which is the arrow, and you would select it, and the magnet is cool because it lines up with whatever you've got, and then you can simply flip it. So it's easy to do that. So if you don't like where you have this, you can definitely change it easily. Now let's get back to Windows, and we're going to line up here, and now we're going to do X and put a foot in between because we don't want to make it unstructurally sound. And again, if we tab back and forth, we want this alignment to be flush in the interior. And we'll do this again. We do X, 1 plus. And being exact is so important in CAD. You don't want to be a sloppy CAD person. You want to be exacting. And X. And because the information you'd get from your drawing would be inaccurate. So you want, if it has the ability to be very accurate, so that's the way you want to be, so it looks like that one's right. I must like flipping it back and forth. There we go. Now we have a bank of windows that look lovely. Now let's head and let's put some windows around here as well. But let's change to a different window style. And in here, I'm going to put in fixed windows. We don't want anybody blowing the food around, we'll say that. Now this is a 7-foot 6-inch window, and there is so much about windows. When you go into it and look into it, you have and so many things you can change and add, and we'll get into that as we go along. On one of our projects it'll be more detailed. And now I've got this window, and again I'm going to put it at the midpoint, and we want it to be measured from the midpoint. So I need that check. So I get the check, and then I can tab this, and I want it to be flush with the interior. And let's do this one as well. So we've got the check, and we're tabbing, and of course it was right with flush with the interior. And one more, and let's say we want this one to be X 7 plus over from there. I have watched operators operate this, and they really like that. It's kind of like a hotkey doing X and Y coordinate input. It makes it fast, and we like that. Okay, now that has the marker on the wrong side. So let's select the arrow and select this and flip it. And now I think that we look pretty good. Let's zoom out, and it looks like we have a marker here that is wrong too. We've got the arrow in memory. Sometimes you need to zoom in. It found the window, however. We'll flip it. The windows have changed, and they give you more options, and so I think that using the tab really helped me to control how they were put in. If we go now, we didn't want to go back to this interior, but if we head over to generic perspective, this is how our building looks now. And it looks like it's going to be bright and cheery. Looks good. Let's go back to the first floor. And now let's put in some objects. So objects is under the toolbox. Now let's say that you accidentally hit that little X and the toolbox is gone. And of course it's really difficult to operate this program without the menuing system. There's actually redundancy in the pull downs and stuff, but if you lose one of these things, you just go to Window, and it happens every class. And I can put the toolbox back on. And did you notice in that window that I can also put in my navigator, which I love over here, or the info box, which we get that information there. So that's a quick way to fix yourself up. And again, it happens all the time, so if it happens to you, it's just normal. Now let's go ahead and we're going to go into objects. And now I am putting a little small kitchen in there, and apparently I really like this thing, so I'm going to select that again. And as a reminder, this is the insertion point. I want to put it in that corner, and so it's aligned just really nicely. So I'm going to say OK, and it goes on the correct layer that it needs to go on. And now I get a check, and I put it in, and it's lined up perfectly. Now if I want to, we need a few more things in there, and in our tutorial you'll see what things, and I would like to say that if you would like to, you may also come up with an interior design that's different. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay, we definitely need a dishwasher. Who wants to do dishes in at a retreat? So this is the insertion point, and we're going to put it right there so the alignment is very good. So we're going to come over here, line this up, and that's perfect. And so we already did this once. Whoops, we've got a extra one in there. So my favorite thing is the undo. So we undid it. Now let's go back in and let's see, we've got a dishwasher. We do need a little stove in here. There's a cooktop stove, and let's look at this. I'm going to put it to the down here from the sink. So let's rotate this around, make this the insertion point. And of course, when we do our electrical, we're going to have to make a notation of that. We'll come into here, and then let's take a look at this in 3D. Actually, it looks really nice. We're doing a good job there. And so then we would put in like a fridge and put in some cabinets above like we did in our other project. So I think that you're good to go there. One thing I'd like to do though is, let's go into the objects and let's pull, doesn't matter, let's take out this. We'll put it right here. If you're the type of person that wants to move things after the fact, that's possible too. So I can take, but I really like the other way of doing things, of doing it before you insert it. But sometimes you make an error and you need to fix it. So if I select this, the big key to changing things is selecting on a grip. So if I select a grip, it gives me a menu of things to do. So let's say we wanted to rotate this. Rotation is you give it a beginning reference point, and then you can rotate it from there. Or if you want to move it, you could, like from this corner, we wanted to move it. So these are all the things we can do. We can mirror, we can move, we can put it up into move it up in height or elevation. So basically that is the key to editing and moving things into position if you like to do that. But it's sure fun to do it this way because it's accurate immediately. One thing that some instructors like is if I select all of these objects, I'm going to shift to add. So now I've selected everything. I'm going to go up to this little chair, and we're going to go to parameters. And under 2D, there is a lot of things that you can do here. That it says edge visibility in 2D, and it looks like you can't do anything, but you click on that none, and we'll say both, and said OK. And now you see you've got the edges showing here, and some people might like that. It would be easier to work with. Now, a few other things when you're finding things to populate your interior is, let's go into, back to objects. Now, if I put in just table, I did have table in there, but if we put in table and enter, then it searches, and it'll search through the internet, it searches through its own little library. So people actually do objects, and these are parametric objects that you can change to make larger, smaller, etc. But this is a nice little table setup, and I'm going to put it in the middle of the of that break room in that direction. And let's say that my drag point is going to be here. So I like that. So now I'm going to put that about right there. Now, I didn't get it quite where I wanted, So let's use the arrow. And on furniture, it doesn't have to be quite as exacting as anyway, that's good enough. But there's plants and flowers and all kinds of things, and when you see the example, you'll see that we did that. And now, let's say that you wanted to put in some seating in here, and you're going to find out it's not really hard to make this be this nice little retreat. So we're going to go back to Objects, and here we don't want to make it too soft because then they would go to sleep, so we're going to make it these hard chairs to make sure everybody stays awake while they're learning. I'm going to say OK. We'll put in a couple of groups. We don't have a lot of people coming to these because it's like a small private thing. And let's go to generic perspective. Let's zoom out of here and use our little orbit tool. Sometimes the orbit gets sticky and you need to select it again. Now we have the chairs facing the wrong direction because I wanted them to face the window, right? But I like that. So let's go and rotate those chairs into the right position, and we also didn't put an opening in here. So we got a couple more things we're going to do before we get done today. So let's go back to the first floor. And so these chairs are backwards. So let's get into the edit mode and select them. Get ourselves a hotkey or a key, and we want to rotate them. So pick a point, do a reference. We need to rotate them all the way around. And I think that's correct. And again, then we could put some more chairs in here and do whatever you would like. But now we need to put this entrance in. Let's go back and go to the door. And under door, there are openings here. We're going to select opening, and we're going to put in an archtop opening. This is 3 feet wide, but we want this to be really wide. So we're going to make this 15 feet wide. And if we had a basketball star come here, we have to make this at least 7.5 feet, so 7 feet 6 inches. Or I could have put it in 7.5. Oops, I didn't get my inch in fast enough, I guess. There we go. That looks lovely. And we're going to do it by the midpoint. So let's come in here. When we get the check, we're good. Let's check that out. I'm using Windows, oops, where is our arch? I must have undone it. I can't believe that. Let's do it one more time. I don't know what I did. But anyway, the mouse has been real interesting because they do so much with the input device. And this particular, I use a touch pad. Oh, I didn't finish answering. You got to remember to answer all the questions, or it doesn't work. And there we've got it. So we've got the beginning of it, and I think you guys, you can take it from here. Somehow I have moved my slab, and so I need to select it and select this end here. And what I want to do is move it to there. Looks good. So you can actually edit and do things in 3D. This is very intuitive program, and it also, you notice that it changes to the right. It changes layers as you go along. You can add layers if you want to, but all of the things are on the right layers, and it's so smart. It just knows. If I go here to the door schedule, it knows the doors that we just put in. It knows door types that we're using. So it knows the windows. And that's one of the advantages of doing BIM, the building information model. As you're drawing, it's keeping track of everything for us, and it basically knows pretty much everything. So that's it. That's what I'd like you to do to get to this position, and then next time we're going to play a little bit with lighting, because we didn't do that before, and we're also going to do some fun rendering. I hate to tell you this, I love rendering. It's something we've done for years, and I love animation, so I end up going to that little area a little bit more than I should probably. But anyway, I hope this is an interesting project and a fun project. And so until next time, thank you for listening.